What do you guys have to do to be better at this place so you're not in a position that you guys were in last year? How do you get better at this place? Because I think even in the spring the result wasn't as strong. So what's the next step for you, Adam, as you go into this weekend, this place?
Well, it's certainly been feels like feast or famine here. We've had the one good race in 2022 where I won. And certainly our performance isn't where we want it to be at Martinsville, but to put it in perspective, like we were in position to do everything that I needed to do until the pit road mishap that put us in the back of the pack. So, yeah, I mean, I think that we're just a little bit off, and that comes from me driving the car, our setup, and we're certainly looking to close the gap to be a contender for the race win. But I do feel like we've been a top 10 car at times. It hasn't showed that way, but it was looking that way until we had the pit road mishap last race.
The forecast keeps changing, but there's the potential for wet weather.
Now, if it rains, there's a likelihood of me becoming a contending car right away. So I am definitely looking forward to wet weather tires if that happens.
What's the difference with that, and how? Obviously, I know you won in New Hampshire with that, but what would be the challenges at this place, and how do you get ready for that this year?
Yeah, I mean, if you're racing in the rain, it completely resets everything, and it's a completely different track, different race, different setup, different driving style. And for whatever reason, the rain tires have been really good for me, racing in damp conditions or wet conditions. I think I've pretty much been, a lead contender every time we've done it. So, I welcome rain anytime that we get the opportunity for it. So hopefully it happens tomorrow.
Do you get angry coming back here after what happened last year? Does it bring back bad memories or?
I don't know. I mean, I'll certainly never forget that moment and never forget that race. But this is a super important racetrack, so it's one that you need to be good at, and you need to, if you want a chance to compete for the championship. And so I'll certainly never forget that race though.
And this was the time, or the week after, it seemed like NASCAR really found respect for you in the sense of like using your voice and realizing that you maybe can be a little bit more outspoken in a constructive way. Were you surprised at their kind of reaction to the way you reacted to everything?
Well, you never know how it's going to go, but I don't know. Like, I contemplated what I was going to do after that, and I knew that we talked about if we were going to come and do the media scrum, if we were going to go do media availability, if I was going to skip media altogether, and I don't know. I knew that I was going. If I didn't choose to do the media availability, I would have came to the scrum and likely had the same question asked, 5 or 10 times by different people. So I thought that the media availability would probably be the best way to go about it, and then kind of what was my message going to be. And I landed on the message that I sent because that's what I felt and how. I didn't feel confident enough to go up there and spiel a bunch of BS that I didn't truly believe, and I wanted to speak from the heart, and that's what I did, and said how I felt, and the rest is history.
Where does Martinsville fit as the sport looks at what to do with the championship and the working group? Where does Martinsville fit in terms of what it can play in terms of the championship? And is it a multi-round, multi-race championship? Is Martinsville part of it, or what do you think in terms of that?
I mean, certainly, I think that the bigger the sample size for the champion, the better everyone's going to feel about it in the industry. So, Martinsville certainly is deserving of a race if there is a multiple race championship round. But I think that round should alternate, whether it's a single race or a multi-race. Like, we shouldn't have a set schedule of, the championship race or the championship round. And I would love to see a rotation of tracks, but Martinsville is certainly deserving of a spot in that calendar rotation.
So I was going to ask you about the rain tires. You said you are a contender if they have the rain tires coming out. When did you figure you were pretty good at rain tires, and how did you become good at it? And how different is it for those who may be watching?
Yeah, it's surprising. Like, I go back and look at the races on TV, and just watching them, it doesn't look that much different, but I can promise you in the car it is tremendously different. And the difference that you feel in the car is that you're just sliding around a lot, and everybody is managing wheel spin and managing lateral slide in their car. And I don't know, I enjoy that, and it seems to be successful for me. So yeah, it's surprising how similar it looks on TV, but I can promise you inside the car, the way that you drive the car is a lot different.
I think it's your background, dirt sliding.
Yeah, I mean, I just think you're always improvising, and maybe that comes from dirt track racing, but you're always you're searching, and I go back to Loudon, and there was a dominant groove that eventually came in, but whenever you first drop the green flag, you have no idea what the dominant groove is, and you're trying to search all over the track, and I found a groove that worked for me that allowed me to get right to the front. So yeah, I just think it's adapting to the ever-changing conditions that happen, significantly faster than it would under a dry condition.
I know I'm a week late asking this, but how does it feel knowing that you and Adam led to a new crew on pit road?
I mean, it's cool, but it's interesting because Adam had talked to me about that years ago, and that was the first time that we got to implement it in a race, but we had definitely talked about it for a long time, and it was in our playbook, or his playbook. And then the situation came up where we saw the changer laying on the ground, and he gave him a thumbs down like it wasn't tight, and so he immediately told me to start looking for teammate pit boxes to try and stop in there. And I believe all of our pit crews have been trained that be prepared for that, and I'm sure it caught him off guard because it's the first time it's ever happened, but next time it won't.
Being able to honor your mentor at Darlington, obviously in two races, how did that come together, and how excited are you for it?
Yeah, I mean that's certainly a dream come true to be able to have Rick on a car for a throwback weekend, and I'm just thankful that DeWalt and Sport Clips allowed us the opportunity to do it. And yeah, I mean, it came from, I think, the JGR side asking me if I had any ideas for the throwback, and I said, matter of fact, I do. And he was a huge part of my professional career and my personal life. So it's something that I'm honored to do, and we'll have a lot of his family out at the race on Saturday and Sunday, and hopefully we can give him a good run.
How do you look to regain steam finish where you feel like you have deserved and gain a boatload
Yeah.
of point spots?
Yeah, it was definitely nice. This season, outside of Daytona and Homestead, like it just hasn't been able to have the result, I feel like, to go with the speed that we've had. So last week was nice. Truthfully, felt like we were a little bit better than fourth. We probably could have ran second, I would say. But just had a lot of issues on pit road, and even at the end of the race, I got in the wall a little bit. But yeah, it was nice to just have a clean, solid day. And obviously, you kind of saw that reflect in the points where I think we gained like 7 or 8 spots. So yeah, knew that going into Homestead it was going to be a great weekend for us. Just it's one of my better racetracks, and from a team standpoint, they're really good there. And I feel like it's the same these next 3 weeks. Like these are all great racetracks for myself and also the team. So hopefully, I can just carry that momentum now.
Is there almost a focus on the basics right now for this team? Like we got a top 5 or top 10 last week. Let's now the next step.
Yeah.
Let's do it again this week.
Yeah, a little bit. Like we definitely need to build a little bit of consistency, and the wins will come whenever you're running up front consistently, right? But yeah, for us, like we need to do all the little things right, whether it's myself, trying to just maximize everything I can, from just the little details like you were saying, and then, obviously the pit crew, like all those things, like if you're going to be a contender week in, week out, like you have to be doing the simple things right. And for us, like that's where we probably just haven't been the cleanest out of all the other teams in the sport. So definitely going to need to clean that up, but confident we can do that for sure.
How does this race weekend specifically help build continuity for a new team?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think this is one of those places where, typically the better organizations run up front. So, hopefully we can take this week and have a good result and just build momentum. That's the hard thing. Like we've not had any 2 weeks in a row that have like been the same from a result standpoint. So, that would be a big thing I think for us, just trying to continue to build that, slowly kind of gain ourselves back up into the points. That's kind of been our big focus is, James and I sat down 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's like we need to average 40-plus points every single week, and we were able to do that last week, but we need to do it multiple weeks in a row now.
So you've talked in the past about how this has been a learning process, the things that you didn't know to do behind the wheel.
Yeah.
I mean, how long does it take to get comfortable when you're switching cars, switching manufacturers, all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm probably, I don't know, it's hard to say. I mean, I feel like I can go win right now, but from a 100%, like this is my new normal, I feel like I'm probably 3 to 4 weeks away still from like really just having kind of dialed in what I need every week and like the feel of what the car should feel like. And honestly, this Charlotte test helped me a lot, like probably shorten that gap more than what it would have been. But yeah, I feel like it's another 3 or 4 weeks from like being fully dialed into like, hey, this is what this thing should feel like every time we go to the racetrack. And I feel like that's about the time. I could be wrong, could be shorter, could be longer. But I definitely don't feel like from a result standpoint, like that's hindering us. I just think that's when it'll kind of become normal now.
Going off of that, you've been really good here at Martinsville before. Knowing that you're still in that learning process with the new team, can you find success here this weekend?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, this has definitely been, from a statistics standpoint, my best probably racetrack in the Cup Series. And I always thought the 14 car was really, really strong here, but we always just lacked that little bit. And really the only 2 teams that were better than us, I always felt like, was JGR and Hendrick and the 12 car. But yeah, so I'm excited for sure about this week. This is one that I definitely feel like we can go be in the mix kind of all day long. I feel like that every week, but certainly at this place, it's a place where I feel like I've always had a pretty good understanding. And from a car standpoint, I know it should be good.
So do you want rain or not? Since the last time
I'm super torn. I feel like the rain is always my strong suit. Anytime we go race somewhere in the rain, I normally run way better than we were. But this is like the only week I've ever been like, man, I don't know if I really want rain. Like I kind of just want to go normal. But I would, truthfully, like rain would not hurt my feelings either. Just because I feel like I typically run better in the rain than I would say the average person. So yeah, I would be okay either way, but hopefully it's just a traditional race. But if we're struggling tomorrow, then definitely rain.
Your teammate Bell wants rain.
Yeah, we were talking about it this week. He was texting back and forth, and I told him the same thing. I was like, I feel like this is the one week I've maybe not wanted rain just because I feel like I can win legitimately. Where other weeks, like New Hampshire, right? Last year I was 26th all day long until the rain came. I had no shot. So, yeah, I'm torn on the rain.
Did you feel like you could win here legitimately?
My Place Hotels is proud to be the official hotel partner of Frontstretch. With plush beds, in-room kitchens, and pet-friendly hotels, My Place makes for the perfect pit stop when traveling. Frontstretch fans can use promo code Frontstretch to save 10% on your stay at any of our nationwide properties. Sign up for our Stay Rewarded program to get even more savings. With My Place Hotels, don't just stay rewarded.
Kevin Nix with Frontstretch.com. Come back soon for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.